This is going to be a tough one, gang. Hello, and welcome to week 34 of 5225, 52 Weeks of Loving Movies. The theme this week is siblings' favorite movies, specifically my sister, Lisa, her favorite movies. I only have one sibling. Her name was Lisa, as I just mentioned, and on January 15th, 2022, she passed away from complications of leukemia. So this one is going to be a little bit tough for me. I hope to keep my spirits up. I hope I hope that I don't get super sad or anything like that while I'm doing the video. But who knows? Who knows where this is gonna go? Maybe I'm gonna be happy the whole time. Maybe I'm gonna be crying the whole time. Maybe it's gonna be real boring. I don't know. But we're gonna talk about my sister's favorite movies. This is releasing today, if the day of release anyway. I don't know when you're watching it, but when the day of release is August 30th, which is her birthday. My sister liked to have a birth month, though. The entire month of August was hers to play with. She treated that as her birthday, the month of August. But I'm releasing this on her birthday. She was born August 30th, 1985. That is 11 months after I was born. So we are very, very close in age, or we were. So today would have been her 40th birthday. There was a running joke or a joke bit, whatever, in our family for years, which was that once her birthday came around, she would say, "We're the same age," which as a lad would just infuriate me. No, I'm older. We are not the same age. I am basically the next age. I'm at 12. I'm basically 13. That kind of thing. But she would do it every year without fail for the whole month. We were the same age, according to my sister. And what was an annoyance when I was a kid became a loved tradition that I would look forward to each year as she would keep it up, and I would still pretend to be annoyed by it because that was part of the bit. And when she was gone, that first birthday of hers that came around after she passed away, I kind of had this realization: I'm never going to hear that again. We're never going to be the same age for a whole month again. And that was really sad, but it hasn't gotten easier. That's a lie. It's gotten easier to manage the feelings when this time of year comes around. I'm still sad. I've been sad for the whole week, basically, as I've been going through some of her favorite movies. And not only that, but the Camp Film Camp that's coming out in less than a week is about funny women, and my sister was the funniest person I knew. And as the person who always has to be the funniest person in a room, to have someone funnier than me my whole life was irksome and a challenge, but also a blessing because we got to have a lot of laughs together. And so I miss my sister. She was just the funniest, the funniest, the realest, the most honest, the baddest bitch anybody knew. And so I am happy to be able to talk about her favorite movies here today. So let's get to her favorite movies. Now, I didn't watch her top 5 favorite movies or anything like that. I did some choosing. 2 of them are definitely in her top 5. One of them is one that I know she loved that makes me think of her, and one was a favorite that we had together. Well, actually, 2 of them are favorites we had together, but one of them is one we used to watch all the time that's not in her official top 5. If I even know what that is, it's changed over time. Um, so I don't know what that, by the end, I'm not sure that I have the exact list, but we're going to start with a movie we both loved. It's her favorite Disney animated movie, and it's my favorite Disney animated movie, and that is Beauty and the Beast from 1991. Um, now, we watched a lot of movies when I was a kid. For a while, we didn't have cable. We didn't, and when I say we didn't have cable, we didn't have local channels either. We had nothing. It was turn on TV, it was snow. Uh, but we did have a VCR, and we had a movie rental place, and we had a subscription, or we had a Columbia House membership, which allowed us to get like 12 movies for 1 cent when we would sign up for that. And we signed up many times, so we had a lot of VHS tapes, and we had a lot of Disney tapes. So we would watch Disney movies a lot when we were younger. We would like to sing along to them. We would record our back before, this is back before the internet. This is back before uh, CDs, or the ability to burn CDs anyway, because we didn't have a computer anyway, even if we could do that. But before downloading music was a thing, streaming was not a thing yet. So we would get our tape player, and we would record the songs from the movie onto a tape so we could listen to them. And Beauty and the Beast is one of them that we did that with. I think we connected to this movie for different reasons. Now, I haven't had an in-depth conversation with her about it. It's one of those things. And if you haven't lost someone real close to you, let me just warn you, there's going to be points where you're going to go, gosh, I'm never going to get to ask them this thing. I'm curious about this. I'm never going to get to ask them this thing. And I've come through that with my mom and my sister both a lot. And so sometimes I'll, because movies are very important to me, sometimes I'll have a movie question, and I won't be able to answer. For this, I was like, I really wish I just knew her top 5, because I have texts and posts about this stuff, and kind of changing rankings of movies throughout her life, but I don't know what it was at the very end. And so as I'm going through this, I'm just thinking, gosh, I wish I could just talk to her. I wish I could just ask her what her desert island favorite movies are. I know Beauty and the Beast was one. It's always on the list whenever she gives a list. But another thing I can't ask her about is kind of what it is that really speaks to her in this movie. I know what it is for me, and I know what I suspect it is for her. For me, you can see me. I'm a big guy, not a handsome guy. I just hair everywhere. There is, and I wasn't always this hairy, but I was always a big guy, just a big ugly galoof, walking around, and so the idea that someone could love this hideous monster always was very touching to me. It's something that still kind of resonates with me today. I'm always really into the monstrous person finding love, that kind of thing. It's always something that's going to resonate big with me, and it does in this movie. I think for my sister, if I had to guess, and this is just purely a guess, she was also a person on the outside. We both are. We're very similar in our personalities and our humor and our looks. So it's easy to say that she probably felt like someone on the outside, much like Belle did. Not Beast like me, but like Belle did, because Belle was seen as strange and was not looked kindly on by her peers, and she felt like an outsider and someone who was not going to find what she wanted where she was, and that is true to who my sister was as well. In fact, most of her long-term relationships have been long distance, and that is because she wasn't able to find what she wanted where she was. And so I think for her, also probably resonates a little bit. There's going to be a little bit of a theme here through these movies, I think, which also is something that she and I share, which are the daddy issues. We didn't have a dad who was around. He left when I was 2, when Lisa was 1, and while we got to visit him some holidays and during the summers, during the school year, there wasn't much of him, and when there was, it wasn't. And when we visited him on holidays and weekends, we weren't his priority then either. It was kind of an obligation for him. So I think the idea of a paternal relationship, a solid paternal relationship, really resonates with my sister and I. The idea that can exist, and it's something almost like a wish for us. Because listen, it didn't really get better through our lives. Even when my mom remarried, our stepdad was an abusive asshole. So it didn't get better for us. So I think that aspect is something that probably resonates with her, because it does with me. Before I move on from this, I just want to say there's going to be people, because the internet is a wasteland, and it's become very popular to criticize this movie for being the Stockholm Syndrome movie. Look it up. Stockholm Syndrome isn't real. It was something that they thought might be real, and then once they studied it and looked into it, they realized, oh, that's not really a thing where someone falls in love with their captor. That's not really what happens here either. But even if it was, that is the metaphor within the film. That is what's happening to fill the metaphor. So I don't want to hear anybody dragging this movie down, please, for that, because it's a movie that I love and my sister also loved. So I'm going to move on from Beauty and the Beast onto a movie that I had said that I had texts and posts and stuff listing her favorites. This is one I didn't realize was her favorite until I came upon it, and I was like, oh wow, this actually has shown up in her top rankings a few times, in her top 5. And so I know that the last ranking I have has this like at number 2 under Beauty and the Beast, and that is Edward Scissorhands from 1990, Tim Burton film. Now, we've covered Tim Burton on this show before. We did Pee-wee's Big Adventure a couple weeks ago. And Tim Burton is someone whose movies I have always enjoyed. Horror comedy is one of my favorite genres and or subgenres. And this guy's basically made a career out of horror comedy, or at least gothic comedy, and that's what Edward Scissorhands is. It's a gothic comedy, horror comedy too. And Lisa and I watched this a lot growing up, but until I found the message that said this hers, I didn't really realize that it was one of her top 5 favorites. So I was like, oh yes, I need to revisit this anyway. It's one that I loved when I was growing up. And I still love it. It was really nice revisiting one of these old favorites. It's a very sweet and kind of more wholesome than the aesthetic gives it credit for. It's really just a funny, fun kind of creepy gothic movie that has this really cute love story in the middle of it, and it works like a fairy tale, which I love that because it's the whole thing is framed as her telling her granddaughter about this story as this fairy tale that, to explain where the snow comes from, which I think is just a genius take on this. The music, Danny Elfman is just a master. He's incredible. I think the music's really incredible. Um, I love the kind of commentary on American culture with this suburban house development or the suburban town with all the houses that look identical with all these very identical looking people. It's a really funny commentary on kind of American culture at that time, late 80s, early 90s. But yeah, it's one that I really enjoy. It's one that it's interesting because this is one of those that when I look back, having it's been in my life most of my life, looking back thinking, wow, if this came out today, what would I think about this idea of like this um Edward Scissorhands? If that phrase wasn't already synonymous with something, how would I feel about that? And it is a wild kind of pitch. It's something that we don't really get anymore, and if we do, we get it from like an A24 or somewhere that's not really going to market to uh, the the mainstream quite as much, and it's probably going to be an artsy think piece, which this is a little bit, but it's also fairly accessible and mainstream. So it's interesting how that culture shifts in how we make and receive movies. But I'm going to move on from this one. I didn't have a lot to say about it. I'm probably not going to have a whole lot to say about the rest of them. Beauty and the Beast was the big one. Um, this next one, gang. This one's not on her list. This one's just on here because it's so synonymous with my sister in my life. Um, I'm just going to bring it up because it's probably one you've never heard of unless you have heard me talk about it or I've mentioned that I'm watching it because I watched it a few times just in honor of her because, yeah, I'm just going to tell you. It's the St. Francisville Experiment from the year 2000. St. Francisville Experiment is a Blair Witch ripoff movie. It's a found footage. This is not really found footage because it's really more of a mockumentary type thing, but it's not really structured like I mean, there's a documentary structure, but if it were a real documentary, it would be not very good documentary, just based on the how it's structured. So, but it fits more in with the found footage milieu that we got at the time, and it's bad. It's a very bad movie. It's not well made. It's very cheap, and you know, part of me today forgives it a lot more than uh, 16-year-old Matt did back when this came out, because young Matt was looking at it going, "Oh, I can see the glint of the string as it pulls this chair back and stuff like that." Because back then, we had it on VHS tape. We could pause it and then just kind of scan it forward a little bit to watch. And if we went frame by frame, there's a point where you can see the light glinting off of the strings as it's pulling this chair away that a ghost sent. Um, so I was very cynical about it. Looking back now, because it was so cheap, honestly, the that chair scene is actually pretty impressive considering the budget that they had. Um, that I had to slow it down and go frame by frame to see the string is really a little bit impressive. That doesn't make the movie good, but it is more impressive than I used to give it credit for. Um, so if you don't know, St. Francisville Experiment is a mockumentary, found footage thing about a group of actors. I guess they're not actors. Some of them are. I don't remember. It was very weird at the beginning because basically it's a group of filmmakers, documentarians, but they're not documentarians. I don't know. I've seen this movie enough times that I should have this. I think they were actors who they taught to hunt ghosts, and they sent them into this building in St. Francisville, Louisiana, which is rumored to have a ghost, which is said to be haunted. And the history they give us of this is not history for the house; it's a history for Louisiana or for New Orleans, and uh, a real life kill murderer from Louisiana who left and no one knew where she went, and they speculate she may have come to St. Francisville. Uh, they don't mention that she may have come to this house or anything like that, so it's all very weird setup. But anyway, so they are ghost hunting this house, and this is before the ghost hunt craze. There wasn't ghost hunt shows or anything on there on at the time. Um, so anyway, it's very clearly fake to me. Your boy Matt. My sister, and I will never know if this was a very long bit or if she truly believed it, but my sister claimed for years until her death that it was real, that she believed it was real. And I've shown her the strings, and I've shown her, that the pointed out that why is that girl eating that sandwich so weird if she didn't want to show the camera that there's a bug on it, like stuff like that. And she's like, I don't care, it's real. I don't know if it's a bit. I kind of suspect it's a bit. It may not have been a bit. My sister and I are both into ghosts. Like, we're both into the ghost hunting stuff. We're both believers, but we are believers from like a scientific standpoint. And I know that seems oxymoronic to people who are not believers. But we are the kind of people who want to see proof, and we will always try to debunk the proof if we see it. I don't believe every ghost claim, but I also am open to every ghost claim. So I don't believe most ghost claims, but I'm open to all of them until I can see a reason not to be open to them. So anyway, that's a little bit about me and my sister. We're both kind of into the ghost stuff. So it makes sense that she was really into ghost shows, ghost hunters, ghost adventures, every ghost show, when those started to get real popular, and she believed all those. And I will say that like things like ghost hunters, I think it's real. I'm not real. I think that they are not faking their evidence. There are some that I think definitely are. Ghost adventures is, I think, a little bit of both. So it stands to reason that she would kind of hold a position of this is real. I just think that this is so not real that it's surprising that she held that position for so long. But despite it being a bad movie, it's one that it's almost a comfort to me now, and not a bad movie in really a good way for me. Like, I like a bad movie. It's not really a bad movie in a good way in that way. It's a bad movie in a good way in that it gives me comfort because it's this connection I have with my sister. So while I'm bored most of the time while I'm watching it, I do have some comfort. So it never feels like a chore when I do go back and watch it. But I'm going to move on from this to the last movie that I watched for this. I only watched 4. I did not watch any first time watches because everything that I knew that she loved, I had also already seen. So it was impossible for me to find something that I definitely knew she loved that I hadn't seen. So, which brings me to the last one, which is A Little Princess, from 1995. Alfonso Cuarón made this movie, and let me tell you, when he kind of started to get real big, particularly when he made, which he was already well established, but when he made Prisoner of Azkaban, which is the best movie from that series that I don't really want to talk about right now. I was like, dang, this guy is good. So I went back and watched some of his old stuff. And when I realized that he had made this, I was like, it makes so much sense that I loved A Little Princess when I was younger, because I do. I absolutely love A Little Princess, and obviously my sister loved A Little Princess. My sister felt a real kinship to Sarah Crew. She like wanted to be her at one point. Like she wanted to be called Sarah. She wanted to kind of emulate the personality of Sarah. That didn't. It's not that that's something that really lasted very long, but it's something that that is a kind of a milestone in my sister's life. Is that moment, like it's touchstone. It's something that I look back on and go, yeah, there was that time where she was like really identified with Sarah Crew. And then I will kind of get back to the to actually I could just do it now. I will say that it's almost certainly, because I mentioned before the daddy issues. I think a dad that loved his child that much is something my sister wanted and something my sister envied. And I was the favorite child with my dad. As sad as that is, to be the favorite of the absent parent. Uh, so if I felt neglect, imagine what my sister felt. And so I think that having like this character who was smart and interesting um and had this father that loved her so much was probably something that really hit with my sister, that she really wanted to be. And so that's, I think, why she kind of wanted to be Sarah Crew for a little while. I just think this is a beautiful, beautiful film. Even watching it today, I'm watching it and I'm just like, this is so beautiful. Even the stuff that doesn't hold up to age is just incredibly. It's really good for the time, and well, it's not really good for the time, but it can be forgiven because of the time and the fact that everything else is so beautiful. It's just a stunning film. Um, it's also a movie about telling stories, and I love a story that's about telling stories, which I've talked about. I don't know if I've talked about on this channel, but I've talked about in the past a lot. Um, it's about the magic and the healing properties of storytelling, and I adore that. It's as I'm watching it today, I'm like getting kind of emotional watching it, because I'm like, yes, exactly. My family is a storytelling family. If we get together, we're going to tell stories. We're going to probably tell stories we've already told each other 10 times. We're going to tell them again, and not a single person in that room is going to go, we've already told this one. No, because we're there for the story. We were hoping this story would be told again. Um, we're a storytelling family, and it's and there's power in that. There's not, as I mentioned, a healing power. There's also a regenerative power, renewing power, regenerative power. Um, there's a bonding power in that. There is so much power in storytelling, and that's why I'm a movie guy. That's why I love movies, and that's why I tell stories, and that's why I love stories about telling stories. But yeah, I've loved this movie for 30 years. Does it have a few problems? Sure. It definitely has the magical Negro issue going for it, but it was 1995. That term hadn't even been coined yet, I don't think, at that point. Um, and the fact that it's still a thing that happens today means that this movie really, we can't really hold it so responsible for not adhering to a standard that had not been set yet. That doesn't mean that it was awesome or anything like that, but I also don't count it against this movie for having that issue. Plus, that character is just so cool, which is really part of which is part of the magical Negro problem, is that they're always really cool. But and you know, the visual effects sometimes can feel a little bit dated, but as I said before, that is forgiven by the stunning beauty of the rest of this film. um I love A Little Princess. I have loved A Little Princess for 30 years. My sister and I loved A Little Princess together, and that will always be very special to me. I'm going to move on. I'm sure I could talk about A Little Princess more from here, but I'm feeling the need to move on before I start blubbering. This brings us to next week, which is listed as untitled here, and I'll tell you why. Because I moved something up into an earlier spot, and when I did that, I deleted whatever was there, and I did not refill this spot. And I could go back and figure out what that is, because I do know what everything was on there at some point, but I've decided not to do that because it's kind of a rough weekend. It's going to be kind of a rough week for me. So I might pick a theme and I might follow that theme. I might just watch some movies that bring me comfort. So the theme might be comfort movies. I don't know. I don't know what the theme's going to be, and I'm going to just be okay with that for right now. And I hope you're okay with that for right now. But let's say comfort movies, because that's a lot, because that's kind of what I need. Any movies I watch are probably going to bring me some comfort, because the movie is therapy for me. But so talk to me in the comments. What are some of your favorite comfort movies? What are movies that bring you comfort when you are feeling down, and when you're feeling sad, and when you're having trouble? What are some of your siblings' favorite movies? What about the movies my sibling loved? These movies here. Do you like them? Have you seen the St. Francisville Experiment? Talk to me in the comments. Tell me how how you feel about it. Thanks.